Jesus spent 3 years of his life going from place to place, giving the word of his Father to those who ever wanted to listen to him. And he was able to drag in thousands of people, and lots of people listened to what he had to say. And lots of people didn't too. They walked away from him. But to those whose message was received, Jesus did his best to make his Father's will known. Now, after 3 years, he would begin his day every morning going away to be silent with his Father, to talk to him, to plan for the day, and then go out and preach. And then at nighttime he would finish the day by going again back to a quiet place to be with his Father, to see how the day went. But during this time he was preparing for the total roadmap to heaven in the greatest sermon ever preached. And so one day he comes down from the mountain amidst the thousands of people at the bottom of the hill, waiting on his every word, and he begins his speech. And he says to them, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for the reign of God is theirs." Now, what did he mean by poor in spirit? Oh, we think of poor as poverty, being without something, don't have food or don't have shelter. But that isn't what Jesus meant here. When he said poor in spirit, he meant we wanted to be empty. Because if we're going to let God fill us, that's what we have to do. We have to empty our souls so he can have space to fill us with his love. But we're so distracted by everything under the sun that we don't have time to get rid of all that junk in our souls to listen to what he has to say for us. But if we're going to inherit the earth, then we have to do a spring cleaning of our souls. We have to get rid of all that junk. We have to get focused to be with the Lord if we're going to become successful in eternity. And then he said, "Blessed are the sorrowful, for they shall have comfort." Now, which one of us isn't sorrowful at some point? We all have problems. We all have circumstances in our life that make us sad. Whether it's illness or financial problems or with the economy or whatever it may be, we're not very happy. But Jesus knows that he can cure us from all that's making us sad because he is the joy of our life. He is the source of our happiness. So if we want to be comforted, we have to admit that we need some comfort and we need his help. And we should pray to his mother, who is the comforter of all sorrows. And then he said, "Blessed are the lowly, for they shall inherit the earth." Now, who are the lowly? Oh, they're not the CEOs and presidents of companies. They're not presidents and prime ministers of countries. They're the simple people who walk this earth just like you and me. They're the carpenters and the plumbers and the bankers and the housewives. They're the simple people. And that's who God really loves most, because they're simple. They're not looking for anything for themselves in terms of success or money or being rich. It's just being lowly enough to admit that they need God in their lives. So we need to have lowly people, and we need to become part of those lowly people so that we can inherit the earth. Then he said, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice." Now, we all know what it's like sometimes to be hungry and even thirsty. But he's not talking about the physical hunger and thirst that we feel. He's talking about the hunger and thirst that we have for things that are important. We're talking about the soul's search for God, soul's search for meaning. And we're not going to find meaning in our life unless we find the reason why we're here. And the reason why we're here, and only reason why we're here, is to give God back his glory and his adoration and praise. So, what we need to do is we need to thirst for God and know that he is the living water who will fill us with our every need. Yes, he will fill us if we are hungry and thirsty. And then he said, "Blessed are the merciful, for the merciful shall inherit the earth, and they shall receive mercy. And mercy is something we get when we admit that we are in need of forgiveness. And no greater mercy was ever given to us than what was given on the cross by Jesus, who died to forgive us and give us God's infinite mercy. So yes, if we are merciful, mercy will be ours. Then he said, blessed are the single-hearted, for they shall inherit the earth, and they shall also inherit heaven. But who are the single-hearted? The single-hearted are the people who put God first in their life, who put God as the number one thing in their life. They have the gift of the presence of God, knowing that at every moment of their life, regardless of what they're doing or where they're at, they are aware of the God in their life. And if we want to really, truthfully put our life into perspective, then we need to have the presence of God in our life. Blessed are peacemakers, for they shall also be one with God. No time more than the present do we need peace. We're all in a state of chaos, and it's getting worse and worse every day. And chaos is something that's the work of the devil. Maybe another name for the devil is chaos, because that's what he likes to do. All he likes to do is to shed and to spread chaos everywhere, so everybody doesn't know what's going on. And then he comes in and he drags and he snares us. So we need to have peacemakers, and we have to have that peace in our own soul. And the only place we're going to get it is if we have unity with God who loves us. So be a peacemaker, spread that peace to others, and let God fill you with the peace that is his. Then he said, blessed are those who suffer persecution for my sake and who are insulted because of me. They did this to the prophets before me, and they will do it to you because they did it to me. And we all suffer persecutions one way or another. Maybe not in a penitentiary someplace, or someplace in a third world country where we're being mutilated and destroyed in all different ways. But we are being persecuted by our own self and our own desires, because once we accept the world for what it is and we give into it, then we're being tortured. We're being tortured by things that are material, and in a sense that's a persecution. And we need to get rid of those persecutions, and the only way we're going to do it is surrender our lives to the God that loves us. So when Jesus gave these little prescriptions, known as the Beatitudes, better known as the Sermon on the Mount, what he was doing was he was giving us the playbook for our future. He's giving us a playbook on how to live our life. Yes, blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the hungry and thirst after justice. Blessed are those who are sorrowful. Blessed are those who are persecuted. Blessed are those who are seeking peace. And when we follow the rules of the Sermon on the Mount, then we're in good stead.